I can't believe I'm committing this to fucking digital history right now. All right, so I looked at Liz and I said, Liz, what can I do? Do you want me to go say something to this guy? Like, I'll literally just go out there. I'll just tell him to go fuck himself. Like anything. I'll just go over and politely tell him to go fuck himself. Like, what do you want me to do? She's like, you don't have to do anything. I was like, well, I'm gonna spit in his drink. She's like, no, don't do it. I was like, how about I dip my balls in his drinks, in his drink? And she said, would you?
Working overtime, serve beer at a Bushwick dive, just trying to stay alive, but it's so damn hard. But I will not worry, though life ain't going as I planned. I hurt and be hard, but it's so much harder. Well, I keep doing the best I can, best I can.
Welcome in and welcome under and welcome back to Under the Apron, the podcast. We're a baking podcast. We make baked goods while we're baked and something else. I don't know. I had it in my notes. It was funny when I wrote it down. It's not good anymore, but it's also true because I just baked some wheat cookies and I've been munching on them. I have no idea. They may kick in real hard in like 15 minutes. And then Mike, you're going to have to take over the ship. We're here with my co-host as always. Great at baked goods, just got out of prison, Micah Stewart.
Who is that?
It's on the bake sheet today. This is all gone way
Oh,
off.
I got it, Stewart. Oh, dude, it's a
Martha
good thing,
Stewart.
man. It's a good thing. I'm
But
doing good though, man. I'm doing good. I'm in the city. I haven't been down in a couple weeks. It's really nice to be here. Went to a burlesque show last night. Saw classy strippers. You know, it was a good time.
Beautiful.
You don't get that as much upstate, which is, so whenever I'm down in the city now, I'm learning the way to deal with being in the city because it's not really my favorite thing anymore. Is to just go and be deeply a part of the city. It's the only way to hide from it is to just go straight in.
Yeah,
and it's a good time.
That's
it's a good
really
time.
profound.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
That's really, that's deep.
Don't you see my wizardly look? I'm going to be full of these.
Mike's got a whole look going today that's different than it's like Gandalf the. I don't know.
Gandalf the Black, dude.
Gandalf the porn star.
Gandalf the baked.
Gandalf the Puerto Rican. That's what that is.
Also, I just got back from a week-long bachelor party in Vermont.
Yeah, man. I was wondering about that.
I got this shirt. This was a present from The Bachelor. It's a wild card. Charlie Kelly from It's Always Sunny, because I guess I'm the wild card of the group. It was a blast. We had a lot of fun. Shout out to Matt Fortier for making your friends hang out with you for a full week, you fucking psycho. And Greg Fortier and everybody who was there, if you're listening, love you. We got into like a full... There's like 16 of us, okay? And we're at like this big fucking restaurant in Vermont. Stowe, Vermont. If you haven't been, go. It's the most adorable place I've ever been in my life. There were little streams with like filled with apples because there's apple trees that are just dropping apples in the stream. It's the cutest place on the fucking planet. And me and my friends, we start talking about dog sex because as you do, you do. Yeah. I know. Because of the episode with Skylar. And so by the end of it, everybody's wasted, and there's like 10 of us just loudly talking about like why you would or wouldn't fuck your dog in this like big restaurant. So our podcast is really having an impact all over the country. Anyway, that being said, I had a blast. I'm happy to be back. Mike, you look great.
Appreciate that, man.
And we have a great show for you today, and I'm very excited to introduce my dog who just came over here. Now, somebody who I haven't seen or spoken to in maybe 10 years, but we worked together at the same restaurant that Chris, Marcella, and I worked at, Rue 57. And it's one of those funny things. I was trying to think about this, Erin, when I was thinking about like how to introduce you and I think we've talked about this on the podcast, but if you work in the service industry for a long enough period of time, with our old asses. There are people who you worked with 10, 15 years ago. And if you try to remember any specifics, you can't remember any specifics. But what I do remember is that I always really enjoyed working with you. And that, like, Erin, it was always fun and funny and sweet and cool and working on acting and all types of stuff. And like that never leaves the memory. So I was going through TikTok the other day, and I see a TikTok that's like suggested to me it might be my friend, and it's Erin doing stand up, and she's killing it on stage. And I was like, "Fuck it, man! Why don't we get her on the podcast?" And she was nice enough to say yes. So welcome to the podcast, Erin Callahan.
Thank you so much. I'm so stoked to be here.
Yeah.
I want to say for the record, I remember lots of specific things about you, Laurent. So,
Okay.
you know,
Sorry.
no, for real. I remember you as being like, this is a compliment, maybe the most self-aware heavy substance user I've ever I've ever met. Like a very like introspective, like human embodiment of Four Loko. Like,
Thank you.
Four
We're
Loko
sponsored
were
by
a
them.
person. Oh, yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
Absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
No, and I think you know, even though man, that was such a long time ago, but like you were present for some really kind of pivotal moments in my life, and including some really dubious hookups that I had with other people that I think you were around for. And you know, I'm glad that you didn't judge me so harshly that you're like, I'm never speaking to this person again.
No, you guys are friends for life. That's the
Yeah,
that's
hell yeah.
Those are the locked in
Exactly.
friendships.
Exactly. That's right. That's how
Yeah,
that works.
and I appreciate you saying that, Erin. You know, the substance abuse stuff. First of all, that's an ongoing topic on this podcast because obviously it plays such a big role in our community in the service industry. But also, you know, for me, that like continued on for another decade, and it really hasn't been until maybe the past 3 years where I was like, okay, it's time to really take a different approach and a look at it. But it's something that I've struggled with for a long time. But I also love it, and it's hilarious. That's the first thing you think of is Four Loko as a person. Thank you. I take it as a
dude.
Yeah.
That might be one of the best things I've heard about someone describing Laurent. The physical embodiment of Four Loko. That's fucking fantastic.
Yeah, but I mean like old school, like OG recipe for Loko,
Oh,
like
yeah.
the real,
Hell yeah.
real stuff, you know?
You are what you eat at the end of the day.
Exactly. Yeah.
I did want to reiterate, you know, that Erin these days is, you know, we were just catching up before we started recording, and Erin is doing stand-up comedy around Los Angeles, and she's also worked on you know, acting. Is there anything else that you have been doing or have done in the past that you?
Yeah, you know, like I said, just like a bunch of bullshit. I am part of a clown troupe.
Yes.
Yeah,
Nice.
so it's not like birthday clown shit. It's like weird. Like if you've never seen a clown show, I highly recommend it. It's basically like it's like comedy but with more tits and crying. Like like uncomfortable nudity, really non-sexy nudity and feelings. And
Are you sure you weren't performing in Brooklyn yesterday? I think Mike saw your show.
I saw at Slipper Room Late Show on the weekend a couple of years ago. I saw the cis woman. She put, I don't. They obviously have names. I can't think of their names, but she put a drill up the other one's ass with a dildo on it and fucking spun it and spun it, dude. Yeah. Like it was fucking wild.
Oh my god, that's gnarly.
So that was what's going through my head when you were saying that entire time. I'm assuming it's somewhere around that realm, maybe not as extreme.
Not quite. In my experience, it's never gotten to that point.
Also, you know, I want to say that I love and it fits in with the podcast, but also like the fact that you're still out there doing what you want to be doing and like pursuing your dreams and pursuing your passions and having fun with it. And like, you know, because you see a lot of people fall off the wayside along the way in the service industry, people who wanted to be actors or whatever, or musicians, and just like let it go. And understandably so, no shade to them, but it makes me happy to see people who continue on and persevere and just do what they love, because I think it's important to have those people out there. So
thanks,
kudos to you.
I appreciate that.
And I was
To
thinking
be
too,
clear, I'm deeply unsuccessful. I just
beautiful.
want to, I am like the absolute bottom of the barrel.
Boy, do I have a
Uh,
podcast for you to be on. We'll all be naked with drills by the end of it. But so let's move right along to Erin's story. Erin, the floor is
Yeah.
Great.
I like looked down and I could like see the inside of my leg basically.
I will never suck your dick.
I wound up watching Back to the Future, getting fucked up with Doc Brown.
As he like sits her on a stool, and no joke, she shit herself.
Oh no!
Dude, this story's crazy, guys.
It's story time.
Well, so because I was thinking back to our time at wonderful Rue 57, I was like, I should tell a Rue story. So I remember having this table. I remember this vividly. I'm pretty sure it was a brunch shift, which, as you remember, those shifts were absolute chaos. And I want to point out that as a side detail, Rue 57 absolutely refused to stock enough coffee spoons in that restaurant for a brunch shift. So every time we had brunch shift, the servers would get there, and the first thing we would all do is we would go and we would literally take handfuls of spoons and put them in our aprons, because otherwise we would run out. Like, we would not trust them to stay in the bins or whatever, because we would run out and people would be furious. So anyway, it was a chaotic brunch shift, whatever. There were these two ladies there who were there with, one of them had like a young child with her. Anyway, they were nasty to me the whole shift. They ordered a ton of stuff, tons of booze, tons of food. They're just nasty to me the whole time. Whatever. So at the very end, when I'm going to clear plates, they have cleaned their plates, except for one little area of one plate that has now very prominently a giant piece of glass on it. And this lady says, I found this in my food. Plate is clean. This thing is the size of my hand. Okay. There's no way that a person is making it through a meal without noticing this until the end.
Right.
This is just some little scam that they would run where they bring a piece of fucking broken glass wherever they go and they get their whole meal comped. And of course we did it. We comped their whole meal. But I was just like, this is, what an amazing, honestly, bravo. Like, bravo. Yeah. Like, what a scam.
Yeah.
I never fucking heard of that one, but Jesus, it totally makes sense. I'm surprised that doesn't happen more often.
I kind of was too. I was like, wow, I would have never in a million years I would have thought of doing this. But it works. And obviously everybody knew. When I talked to management, they all knew it was a scam. I knew it was a scam. They knew that we knew it was a scam.
Fuck.
Well, we can't.
Well, what else
can't
can you
prove
do?
it, right?
Ugh.
And it's not worth it, right? It's not worth it to them to, it's much easier to just comp, $200.
Sure.
My friends and I were at a bar in Bed-Stuy like 15 years ago, and this group of dudes came in. We were in like a dive bar, and this group of dudes came in, and like we were all kind of like by the dance floor, and like they all started dancing like really intensely, and we were like, yeah, like, oh shit, like these guys are dancing. Like we all started dancing, right? And there's like probably like 6 or 8 of us, and we're all dancing with these 3 guys. And then they leave, right? They have a drink, they do a shot or something, and they leave. And all of a sudden, all the girls that we were in the group with all checked their purses, and they all got robbed.
Oh shit.
So these dudes came in and fucking started a dance party, and they must have had 2 of their boys just flipping through purses while we were all dancing. So those dudes at least gave us a nice time while they were fucking us over.
There you go.
That's true. They
It
made
was
you
really-
feel good.
Yeah, it was
Made
a
you
really
feel
fun
good while
dance
you were
party.
getting fucked.
Yeah, I think about it often. It was
That's funny.
I
didn't get robbed, so I can think of it fondly.
Sure.
to all you scam artists out there, if you're gonna do it, at least be entertaining, be friendly, be a pleasure to be around. Because
customer service, y'all.
Yeah, have some customer service when you're robbing me. Okay, so we're gonna jump into topic roulette. For those of you who have not listened to our podcast before, topic roulette is when the guest brings a topic about the service industry. Mike and I bring a topic about the service industry. We don't know about each other's topics beforehand, and we talk about them for about 8 minutes. Erin, would you like to go first or second?
I'll go first.
Cool.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, so spitting in a guest's food. Have you have you done it? Do you know anyone who's done it? Would you ever do it? Do you want me to go first?
Please.
Yeah, please,
Okay.
please.
Okay.
Yeah, you go first.
I have not done it. I would never do it. Truly would never do it. I have some people who have come in who I would commit physical acts of violence against if I could, but I would never spit in their food.
Sure.
It would never occur to me to do that. And so it's always interesting to me, like when I see, people online, people on social media or whatever, talking about like, oh, that, if you don't tip, like those servers are definitely spitting in your food or whatever. I've personally never witnessed it or known about it, but I'm curious if you guys have.
Mike?
Yeah, in terms of spitting in food, no, I've never done that. I've and it's curious. I'm curious now. Where did that come from? Is that a movie thing? Is that like an old school thing? Is that like something that was in a newspaper like one time in the 70s and then it became urban legend? You know what I mean? And I'm sure it happens, and I'm sure there are places where that kind of thing, people have discovered that. That being said, man, all right, I'm gonna tell this story. I don't want to tell it. I don't want to tell it, but this is for entertainment, okay?
That's right.
I'm not going to say the place. I'm not going to say any names. Okay. But I was working at a place, and it was like a Friday or Saturday night, and there was a server who was a very good friend of mine. She was waiting on a table that had, it was a couple. They were probably in their 40s. Apparently, the woman was like a nasty bitch, like right off the bat. Like asking her like aggressive questions, right? The man was dismissive to her, talking over his like over his shoulder to her the whole time, like went like this to her a few times. I remember the stories were just stacking up the whole show. Now keep in mind, I was a younger man. I was probably 23 or 24 at this time. Yada yada yada. The stories keep on progressing. It's like every time she goes to the table, it's like there's something new every single time. And God, yeah. So I can't believe I'm committing this to fucking digital history right now. All right, so I looked at Liz and I said, Liz, what can I do? Do you want me to go say something to this guy? Like, I'll literally just go out there. I'll just tell him to go fuck himself. Like anything. I'll just go over and politely tell him to go fuck himself. Like, what do you want me to do? She's like, you don't have to do anything. I was like, want me to spit in his drink? She's like, no, don't do it. I was like, how about I dip my balls in his drinks? In his drink. And she said, would you? And like I said, it was late in the night, and I had a couple drinks in me, and I said, yeah, I will, and I did it. I did it. Yeah. And you know what? I don't think I said the last straw was. What the fuck did he say to her? He said something so nasty to her and like so mean and unnecessary. And that was when I was like, what do you want me to do? I was like, this has gone too far. Like, what do you want me to do? Yeah, and I did it. They weren't that clean. I'll say that. They weren't that bad.
By the end of a shift, you're not doing so great down there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're good balls. They're good balls. They're not,
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Let's move on from this one.
Okay. To Erin's point, yeah, I think the spitting in people's food is an urban legend, but never in my career, which is long and tenured and full of absolute pieces of shit along the way who deserve spit in their fucking food. Have I ever done it? Have I ever seen anybody do it? Have I ever heard of anybody, in my community doing it? I think it's an urban legend. I do know one crazy guy, though, who dipped his balls in somebody's drink and then said it on a podcast.
Who would do such
that's
a thing?
all time. I can't imagine. Yeah. I bet he's got crazy hair too. I bet his hair is just like
and gems of wisdom. Gems of wisdom.
The guy pulls a fucking 8-inch hair out of his glass. He's
it's the same. It's the same up top and down below. It's
the carpets match the drapes. Do you guys remember there was a story that like went kind of semi-viral, especially around like the service community? That was a couple of years ago where they caught some bartender who had been working for like 10 years on camera, and it turns out that like I can't remember. I think the story was basically like every drink that at least he would sneak over to the other side of the bar and stir the drink with his dick. And he was doing this for years.
Jesus.
What the
And it wasn't until,
fuck?
I don't know if they had
Wow.
like caught on to it. They saw it on camera and then they went back and checked the cameras and
What
was
do
like,
you,
been
dude?
doing.
If it's that many times, like, what was his criteria? Like,
No,
it
no,
couldn't
I don't
have
think it
just
was. It
been.
wasn't like
It was
it was
random.
equal
That's got to be a
opportunity. It had
compulsion.
nothing to
That's
do
got
with
to
if
be
you were a
just like
bad
a
person.
yeah. That's got to be just like a weird like
Sex compulsion.
sexual compulsion or something.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
Huh.
wow.
I need
Man.
to like for power or something. I don't know, but yeah.
Right.
Um,
Dude, wait, really quick. I just thought of it when you were talking about like telling someone to go fuck themselves and then spitting in their beer.
yeah.
One of the coolest things I've ever seen a customer do when I was working at the sake bar, there was this shitty customer like talking shit to people. He was drunk. I was like getting ready to cut him off and tell him he had to go because he was just bothering everyone. And one of my regulars literally walked up to him, it wasn't even on the bar. He took his beer out of his hand calmly and spit in it and handed it back to him and then went outside and lit a cigarette. Fucking
That's
amazing. It was
That's how you
fucking
do it.
incredible.
That's how you do it.
Oh, yeah, so good.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
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 All right. Unless anybody else has any stories about spitting their balls or anything, we're gonna move on to the next topic, which is, and this is an under the apron first, which is that I did actually let our guest Erin know about this topic because I thought it would be it would work a lot better if we were all coming with a little bit of like knowledge about it. So the topic is different prototypes of service industry employees. And I thought we could just go around the bend and just keep going until we tire out. But and I'll start us off with a two-parter, which is, the OG, right? So there's a lot of different versions of the OG, which is basically, if you don't know what that means, welcome to Earth. But it just is somebody who's been around the block, who's been working in the industry for a long time or doing something for a long time, maybe like past their prime, soft avocado type shit. And so I have two iterations of OG to start us off on this. OG1 is a badass that's been in the business forever, can handle every situation with ease, doesn't take it too seriously, still like rips shots, smokes cigarettes, maybe even still does cocaine. And like it has like leathery skin, looks like they're like 10 years older than they are, but they're a fun time and they're just still in it like they're 22 years old, just partying but they've been doing it long enough that they could do it with their eyes closed. And the second one is another type of OG is, also same thing, been around the block, knows everything that they're doing, but they're sober now. They've kind of like moved on and they're sort of over it. They don't really like the job anymore and they've just been there too long. They're a little bit cranky. They don't always hop to it. And yeah, so that those are my two to start us off.
One that I've got is like the sort of pally manager, like the manager who really doesn't do a good job, but just like is like basically cosplaying as like a mob boss kind of, like they really just want to be like king of the town and like they want to be everybody's best friend.
Are you talking about somebody who's like at least like friendly and nice with you? Or are you talking like, is that a part? Because I thought you said palling around at first.
Yeah, but with the guests.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Like they
that's
want...
every manager that worked at Rue, by the way, on top of
that's true.
Whoever you're
that's true. But I'm thinking like the person who like that's all they do. So I'm thinking of like one guy in Midtown who I worked with who was like this, and then another guy who I worked with when I first moved to LA who was like an aging Gen X. Like he still had a mohawk and a wallet chain. I'm not making this up. Like he was easily, mid 50s, but still like trying to seem like cool and like he just came off of Warped Tour or something. Like it was really, really deeply embarrassing. And he would take tips from the bartenders. He would get behind the bar and make one drink a shift, and then he would take a cut of their tips every shift.
Get the fuck out of here!
Yeah, it was disgusting.
I've seen that happen in a couple different places, a couple different ways. That shit is like tantamount to
no way.
Yeah, that
you should be.
That's certain. You should be. executed by the service industry. Like, I don't know what that
Straight
actually
up.
looks like,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, you
At
should
least,
come
like-
before the service industry tribunal at the Hague.
yeah,
You know,
Yeah.
and
Exactly.
be shot.
that's
I was gonna
the worst.
At least taken out back and given like a Rat Pack beatdown.
Yeah.
Mikey, you got one for us?
Yeah, I wrote down 3, and I'll go backwards because we covered one. I just wrote down the been doing it too long chain smoker. That's what.
Yep.
And then I wrote the actress, which it's kind of.
How dare you? No, I'm just kidding.
No,
I know what you mean already, though. I know what you mean.
Yeah. But it's actor. It's actor. It's actors in general. The early 20s, just dropped out of college. Got some tattoos, maybe long hair. Starting to bartend for the first time. Getting a lot of girls' numbers. He's in a band.
Oh,
right. Just getting numbers left and right. Talking about myself here.
Yep. Yep. I saw that coming.
Talking about myself here. Yeah. That one I definitely like. As I got older, I was like, oh shit, there's so many of me.
So I'm gonna go through. I happened to be kind of high last night when I thought of this, and I wrote down a bunch. So I'm just gonna quickly rattle these off. And
I like how Laurent says he happened to be high.
Right.
He happened to be high.
These things
Flipped,
happen.
I fell. I smoked 3
Who knows? Yeah.
So this is I'm gonna run through these. I'll rattle them off. If any of them resonate with you, let me know. So we got again, for prototypes of people who work in the service industry, we got the drama queen / gossiper who always wants to talk about their coworkers, always has drama. The nerdy sweet kid who's like in school or working towards something. They're not from the city. The city is strange to them. They have kids or they're about to have kids. And they're just like sincerely better people than the rest of us. But I will say with those people, although I love them, and there's one person who I'm thinking of at the moment, who we both know, Erin, Yanni, and this part doesn't apply to him, but most of the time with those people, even if I do love them and they're sincere and they're sweet, something about that amount of innocence where they're like, what's happening in this city with all these people, like makes me want to like punch them in the face.
Punch them. Yes, absolutely.
Even though I do also love them, there's that amount of innocence as an adult makes me like very angry.
Right.
Douchebag is kind of what we were talking about. Addition to that is that person's usually not a team player. The sassy gay man, which can go one of 2 ways. Either really obnoxious and self-centered and hard to work with, or the complete opposite, like the most hilarious, fun, like drive, funny, sassy, and also good at their job.
Dude, I had a sassy gay OG when I was working at the cellar. Yeah, shout out Gerald.
That's a good combo.
Oh my God, we have to have Gerald on the show. Shout out Gerald.
All right, so I will say, I'll reiterate what Mike said, and Erin, you might want to speak on this afterwards, but actors are a specific breed of the service industry. And specifically there are plenty of actors who don't fall into the category of actor when it comes to a prototype, but the actor prototype can be tough to deal with.
The worst.
And I'm sure and that goes beyond the service industry. I mean, as people who live in major cities, specifically New York and Los Angeles, you're around them all the time. There's just such a specific like insecure arrogance that comes along with that it's pretty crazy.
I've seen actor coworkers like try to network with their tables. And I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, don't pull up your IMDb at the table. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, slipping their headshot into the menu. Like, here's our specials for today. Terrible. Okay, the next one, the fun one, right? The like always in a good mood, always funny, just like charismatic, just the person that you're always happy to be around. Generally, they're like a 6 or 7 out of 10 at their job, but you don't care because they're just so fun to be around. That's what they're good at.
Going with the OG before. Remember how I said there has to be one OG on the floor per shift. There's got to be one fun one on the floor per shift to balance the force.
All right. So cokehead, drunk, the parent, the person who has like a 3-year-old at home.
Wait, can I say something about this one? Because this was one I had come up with too, is the parent who works like two other service industry
Yep.
jobs and
Yep.
just goes from the one that you're at to
God
and
bless
like
them.
doesn't complain about it.
Yep.
It's just like, yeah, I'm just going to my other job. And then every time you're like, man, I'm fucking exhausted, then you just like look over at them and you're like, I'm a piece of shit.
So, then we got the person who's constantly trying to snake their way into like being the manager or like promotions, always trying to like weasel their way up.
Ooh.
We got the rich kid who's never worked a real job before. We got the lifers. Shout out to the lifers. We don't talk about that a whole lot because most of the people on this podcast are, pursuing stuff outside of it. But all respect to people who are a part of
For
that.
sure.
We gotta get a career bartender on here.
Yeah, we do.
Or a career server? I don't think so.
We got the creepy dude. Almost always one of those.
The sexual predator.
Sexual
Yeah.
predator guy.
The creepy dude could also potentially be connected to one of the previous archetypes that we've been talking about. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Yeah. Like maybe maybe the Coke one, right? The Coke one could also be creepy. Yeah.
There's a lot of Venn
Pally
diagrams
manager,
here.
the Pally manager.
Oh yeah.
Frequently also a creepy dude.
Those guys, especially because they're in a bit of a power position, like that always brings it out. There's the no sense of humor person, just like you can't fucking talk to them. They're usually pretty hot, and they just like it's like talking to a box of raisins. We got, and then we're ending it with the overly PC or the overly not PC, like the person who's just constantly making comments that like nobody wants to hear.
Overly not PC joins with OG for me sometimes too.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have another one that this is a related one, is like performatively homophobic.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Like the people who are just like, okay, we get it. Like we get it.
Yep. You're
again,
gay.
that one
yeah, you're clear.
Right, exactly.
We all understand what you're trying to tell us here. So, Erin, you know what? Fuck it. It's so funny that I haven't thought about this. So funny that I haven't thought about this until this exact moment. Okay.
Okay.
We're gonna leave names out of it, but I've got a quick story for you. For everybody listening. When the restaurant that you and I worked at, I slept with one of the managers. Okay. She was terrible. I
know exactly what you're talking about.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool. So she lived in Queens. I lived in Brooklyn, I think at the time. I don't remember where the fuck I was living, but not close to where she lived. And it was like 2 a.m. and I went over there. We like slept together, but it was like really weird and just like I was like, what the fuck? I kind of came to. We went out for drinks, and then like I came to at 2 a.m. I'm like, why am I in your apartment? And there was another manager there that she was sleeping with who was married, so they had to like keep it on the down low. And I had to listen to her on the phone with our other manager for like an hour. Like she's crying, I love you, all this shit.
Oh my God.
And I'm like it's too late for me to go home now. Like I don't want to leave at fucking 2 or 3 in the morning and take an hours long train ride drunk home, and then have to wake up. I think I had to wake up early the next day to go to work breakfast. So I'm like, I'm gonna get like 3 hours of sleep unless I sleep here. But if I sleep here, I'm literally just have to listen to my 2 managers on the phone talking about how much they love each other, even though he's married and her and I had just had sex. And it was like, I haven't thought about that in a very long time, but it was super weird.
What a mess. I'm sorry that happened.
It's
that
okay.
is
listen,
really
it taught me a good lesson. Don't ever
awful.
have sex with that person again.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
That's
But you did.
Wow.
No, not after that.
Wow. See, you know what, Laurent? I really thought you were about to tell an embarrassing story about me. So
yeah,
me
too.
There are some things that you could. Do you remember when we all hung out? I think it was like a beer garden in Queens.
Uh-huh.
And I got super wasted, and I was talking to this Irish guy, And then we started making out, and I just like went I went ham, and I like bit his tongue, and his tongue was fucking bleeding.
No.
Jesus.
No.
Yeah, I
I
was
don't
completely
remember that.
yeah, and it was ridiculous because listeners obviously won't know this, but I am literally 5 feet tall. This guy was probably like 6'2", 6'3", and he's like bleeding from his mouth.
Yeah, you had to take him down a foot or two. You had to take him down a foot or two. That's it.
Were you just hanging
Anyway,
off the tongue, like biting? And
yeah, I was climbing. I had to climb. I had to rappel off the. Yeah. Anyway, you witnessed this whole thing. And
Beautiful. I don't know how the fuck I
very,
could forget that. That's crazy.
you were very entertained by it.
Yeah, I bet. Sounds great. So we're gonna move towards the end of the show, and Erin, I don't know if you listened to an episode or not, but Mike's going to explain to you our next thing.
All right. Welcome to Chris Marcella's Fast Five. For Erin and anyone at home who's never listened to an episode before, the Fast Five are 5 rapid fire random questions. First thing that comes to the top of your head, send it right back. All right?
Yep.
All right.
Chris Marcella's Fast Five or 10.
Number 1. Care Bears or My Little Pony?
Care Bears. No question. Care Bears. My Little Pony. You got bronies out there? I don't want to know. Like, it's creepy. Yeah, I can't. Yeah, Care Bears.
That's another prototype that we forgot to mention.
Oh, yeah.
Brony.
Perfect. All right. Number 2. And no judgment. Were you one of the people who were panic buying toilet paper at the beginning of COVID?
No, I was one of the people who panic bought a bidet.
Oh, smart.
Super smart. You got to get into things during COVID. That's it.
Right.
All right. Number 3. Favorite Spice Girl?
Gotta be Ginger.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's two gingers, Laurent. That's 2 gingers. Number 4. What was the last thing you ate, drink included?
Coffee with whiskey in it.
Fuck yeah. Perfect. What time is it over there? Don't answer that question.
Don't worry about it.
All right, number 5. Wrapping it up with number 5. You're stranded on a desert island. You could bring 1 CD and 1 film. What would you bring?
Oh, wow. Oh, my God. Okay, film, Lord of the Rings.
Which one?
And I can't say all of them.
No.
Nah, you gotta pick one.
Yeah, pick
God
one.
damn it. I guess the second one, honestly. 2 Towers.
Yeah, 2 Towers.
It has the most Gollum in it. That's why. And album, I guess. Oh man. You know what? I'm gonna say Green by REM.
Hell yeah.
Here we go.
I'm in. Solid.
Beautiful.
All right, there you have it. Chris Marcella's Fast Five.
Beautiful. Okay, guys. Well, we are at the end of the show. I want to say thank you very much, Erin, for doing it. It's been a pleasure to catch up a little bit. It's great to see your smiling face.
Likewise.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
No worries. This has been a blast. Where can people find you?
So on Instagram and on TikTok, I'm at Dingoes Ate My Baby. That's DINGOZ, the number 8, MIBABY. And then on Twitter, I'm not calling it X because it's fucking Twitter. I'm at Erin M. Callahan. Erin M as in Michelle Callahan.
Awesome. Yeah, check her out on TikTok and Instagram. She's got some great reels of her stand-up. You're doing good out there. Yep.
I talk a lot about white women and how problematic we are.
Sick.
Love it. I love it.
Okay, well, as we end every episode, our guest is going to send us off with a joke or a quote. What you got, Erin?
Do you know that I actually completely forgot about this until this moment? That
Beautiful.
is so embarrassing. That's the
all
one
good.
part of the assignment
No worries.
that I forgot.
Don't worry, I
You know
forget
what?
parts of my assignment, and it's the same every fucking week. So don't feel bad.
I will sign off with a joke that's also a piece of advice.
Yes.
If you can help it, don't fall in love with someone from the Midwest, because you'll never truly know if they really love you or they're just being polite. And and they also initiate sex by going whoop behind you.
Perfect. That's perfect for the service industry.
Yeah.
Right behind you. Right behind you.
Exactly.
All right. Well, on that note, thanks again, Erin. Mike, always a pleasure. You look wonderful.
Hell yeah.
Out there,
Thank
baby.
you guys so much.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you, Erin.
Nice to meet you too.
All right. Bye, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.